Miss Journalist, you don't look well. Did you not sleep well?
I had a nightmare last night. But I don't quite remember what happened.
A nightmare is often a projection of fear from real life. Perhaps it's the impact of yesterday's incident at the racecourse?
Oh? Did you have a nightmare too?
No, not at all. I haven't had a dream in a long time.
Not even a sweet dream?
A sweet dream? That's a memory far older than any nightmare I've had.
Mr. Orpheus, you're interested in music too?
It fascinates me, but unfortunately I'm not good at it. Do you play the piano, Miss Reporter?
A little.
Ah, then why don't you play me a song? I'll tell you about my new book in return.
The White Stallion of Death?
Huh? That story's been finalized. It's another story that I'm working on. A story that's even more fascinating.
I can't wait.
This is a story about revenge. It is inspired by this very manor. Perhaps you've heard the rumors about this manor? It was built in the 16th century by a meritorious naval officer after being conferred a title. Maybe it was because his glory was built upon slaughter, but the manor seemed to be cursed from the moment it was built. Every owner in history either lost their families or their own lives. So, as time passed, the manor was left abandoned until a couple bought the place and moved their family here to give their child, who suffered from neurasthenia, a quiet and relaxing environment to recuperate in. The good natural environment and his parents' affection allowed the child to grow up healthily. But as he grew older, the small manor was no longer able to contain the child's blooming curiosity. And so he walked toward the forest beyond the manor. And there he met forest rangers with very different personalities from his own, and eventually became close friends with one of them. One day his parents held a banquet at home. As he was too bored, he did as he always did. He went to play with the forest rangers in the forest. However, none of them were home. He guessed they were out on a night patrol, and so he continued his search in the forest. That night, the forest was exceptionally quiet, except for the chirps of nightingales. Even the wild deer he occasionally saw running through the forest were nowhere to be seen. As the night darkened, it was time for him to head home. But he suddenly realized that the piccolo his parents gave him to signal for the gates to be opened had gone missing. He started walking toward the manor's gates, while worrying if he would be able to make it inside. Yet he found the gates wide open. Beyond the gates, his forever peaceful and happy home was hell on earth. Belongings had been looted, rooms destroyed, and his parents were lying in a pool of blood. Later on, according to the officer in charge of the investigation, his home had been ransacked by bandits that night. As the only survivor, his relatives used the excuse of a breakdown from shock to commit him to a mental hospital. He went through torture there, and finally escaped when he couldn't take it anymore. After that, Lady Luck, who'd long since abandoned him, seemed to have thought of him again. He met a group of like-minded friends who were talented in various fields by chance. With the help of his friends, he started his plan to retake the manor and uncover the true culprit of the incident back then. The first step wasn't difficult. He quickly retook the manor and captured a surviving member of the bandits. From that scum, he learned that they had purchased his lost piccolo, and learned the story of its ability to open the gates from a usurer. And when he returned to the forest cabin where the missing forest rangers used to live, he found a usurer's note in his close friend's room.
So what happened after that? What about his revenge against the forest ranger?
So, Miss Journalist, you consider the forest ranger to be the culprit too?
Well, Mr. Orpheus, isn't this your story that you're telling me?
No, I never said that. And I still haven't figured out the story's ending.
But you've decided that it's a story about revenge, right?
Miss, you don't look very well. Did something happen?
I think I discovered some secrets about Mr. Orpheus last night.
If it's all right with you, we can exchange information. But not now. Maybe you can look after these plants for me first.
Of course. Please tell me what I have to do.
Thank you so much.
It was a very interesting experience, Mrs. Plinius. I'm feeling much better now.
That's good to hear.
Oh, Mrs. Plinius, did you notice the special cluster plants in the flower garden?
The Delphi?
Delphi? Is that what those dark violet ferns are called?
It's just a name they were given by the person who cultivated them.
The person who cultivated them?
Delphi is actually a symbiote. Its ferns aren't terrestrial, and they only grow in a small and unique part of the Mediterranean Sea. Just like I mentioned during breakfast yesterday, the last time I saw them was in the possession of a family of aristocrats in the Mediterranean. He funded their growth.
Why did he grow them? As far as I can see, they aren't that beautiful, so they must not have much ornamental value.
According to my husband, the juice extracted from them has certain pain-relieving effects. Perhaps it has special medicinal value? But that is beyond the scope of our field of study. Speaking of which, I'm actually not the only one in this house who knows about Delphi.
Who?
Mr. Orpheus. Our first meeting was in the home of that family of aristocrats in the Mediterranean.
Oh, he's a friend of that family?
No, he wasn't famous then, so it shouldn't have been possible. He was visiting a chemist in charge of the extraction experiments on the Delphi. That chemist was a fellow alumnus of my husband, Joshua. He was quite close with Joshua, and they often exchanged correspondence with each other.
A novelist's friend is a chemist?
It's not unusual in our circle. However, while it was merely a brief exchange, Mr. Orpheus and that chemist did seem like friends who contradicted each other. Mr. Bourbon, the chemist, is a very reserved and serious person. And they are completely different from my husband.
Mrs. Plinius, since we're on the topic of your husband, a few questions have been bothering me since our last chat. I just hope they won't offend you.
Call me Melly. Nothing is too much in a situation like this.
Of course, Melly. You mentioned coming here to uncover the truth about your husband's death, but we all know how dangerous this place is. So I'm quite surprised that you were willing to take such a risk for him.
That isn't very offensive. After all, I've answered questions about our relationship on too many occasions since he passed away. Since you're a journalist and you're asking a question like that, I presume you've heard the rumors about me. I was born in a village, and we've been hard-working beekeepers for generations. As a woman, being literate in a small village is quite a remarkable feat. I was going to spend my life like that, but when I was around your age, I met Joshua. He needed a literate beekeeper to take care of his apiary.
Why does he need someone literate?
Because he occasionally raises extremely aggressive species of bees in the apiary, and he uses labels to differentiate them. The labels are complicated, in abstruse entomological terms. But I quickly learned how to distinguish them. He was very pleased by this, and it wasn't long before I became his assistant. Later on, in order to help me assist him better with his work, he hired me a teacher. And then he took me to study at the institution where he was hired as a visiting professor. From then on, a new world opened its doors to me. Although it wasn't perfect, it was definitely enchanting. So to this day, even though we're no longer a couple, I have no doubt that Joshua changed my life. And I don't want his death to go unsolved. Speaking of which, even until the day he died, he probably still thought that I could distinguish those bee species so quickly due to my outstanding literary skills.
But the truth is...
The truth is, I only managed to fully understand those labels after being his assistant for 6 months. But as the daughter of a beekeeper, I grew up learning how to distinguish those little critters based on their bodies and habits. How ironic it is that we never truly understood each other.
Melly, have you met Mr. Campbell?
I have. And as a friend, I suggest that you be wary of him.
Why?
Remember what the butler said last night? The road is blocked, so at the very least, we shouldn't have new guests today. Unless... Shh. Perhaps my years out in the field have made me more sensitive to smell. But there was a disturbing smell coming from Mr. Campbell. It was somewhat like the mud after it rains. But it also smelled like something even more dangerous.
An interesting game? I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's just some crude entertainment. It's only natural that a rich lady like you has never played it before.
Maybe we can be nicer to each other, Mr. Campbell? After all, it wouldn't hurt to have one more ally here, right?
An ally? That is true. And I'll consider it if you can beat me.
It would be my honor to accept your challenge. Mr. Campbell, may I ask why you're here?
Hey, for money, of course. What else?
Are you very short on money?
That truly is something only the rich are capable of asking. Look at my face and listen to my voice. If there's something worse than poverty in this world, then it's definitely a lung disease that makes even breathing painful.
Forgive me. Is this an after effect of the mining disaster?
No, wait. The mining disaster. What do you know?
It seems I haven't introduced myself properly. I'm a journalist. If you recall, I asked a colleague to invite you to an interview about the mining disaster.
Oh, I remember now. That did happen. It was a woman with brown hair. You can interview me now, too, but on the condition you do as she said. Pay for every question you ask.
According to my investigation, you've always been engaged in mining work. Is that true?
What else can the son of a miner be but a miner?
Then you must be very experienced. So you must have been aware of the Coal Mining Act's provisions and the risks of illegal blasting, right? Why didn't you opt for the safer rock drilling method?
Miss Journalist, do you know how much rock drilling cost? How much blasting cost? How much a miner's life costs? Even if an accident occurs, the compensation payment wouldn't be able to make up the difference. Nobody cares about those laws.
According to the statements recorded by the police, you entered the mine half an hour earlier on the day of the accident. Why is that?
It's just a habit of mine. I'm not like those slackers who just wait for money and ores to fall into their outstretched arms. I have a habit of entering the mine earlier to familiarize myself with the environment there. The early bird gets the worm, and the careful miner lives longer. Maybe that's why I'm still here today while they're...
Because you knew the environment well, you were able to find a safe place to hide during the incident, even when you were closer to the source of the explosion, right?
How do you know I was closer to the source of the explosion?
According to the police report, their tests found more gunpowder residue on you.
Since you were able to read the police statements, why don't you just ask them what happened there? They know better than I do.